Welcome everybody to another episode of Fair Magic here on the Fair Magic MTG channel. I am your host, Levi Stevenson, and I am joined by Luke Vorwald this week.
Luke Gorewald this week.
He's got a fucking mask on, I guess.
Aha, it's spooky time. Luke Gorewald.
Gonna do the whole podcast. No, I'm not.
I will wait. Okay, thank you for
that was the joke.
That was one of the jokes of all time. All right.
The people are losing their shit.
You hope so. Otherwise, what was that for?
I mean, I know when I rewatch this episode later on, I'll be really cracking up.
That's good.
It's spooky time. It's my favorite time of year.
Yeah, but at least do something spooky.
Well, I don't have my pig outfit, which is far more spooky than that Misfits mask,
I suppose. All right. Today's show is about the Commander bracket updates that just came out that were released by Wizards of the Coast this year. It not just a bracket update, but just kind of an update on kind of what the Commander format panel has been talking about the kind of over the last few months, really over the last year, since the brackets were first introduced, and they kind of referred to it as a beta, and they said that like this is our version, but we're going to keep working on. We're going to get feedback. We're going to get more data and just kind of figure out what's all happening. And we're a year on now. The Commander format panel, I guess, met for a summit, essentially a 3-day deal where they just talked it out. And we got some adjustments to the different brackets, kind of on how they're defining certain things. So I am going to I'll pull it up here on the screen so people can see it a little bit up on the website. So basically,
that's much better than what I have pulled up. I have a paused command zone frame, which is not super high quality.
Yeah. So we're not going to read through all of this, but basically, so one of the things that there are a couple of main things that they did. The first one, you can see here on these little notes down here, is they added turn number guidelines to each of these, saying, bracket 1 should be 9 turns, bracket 2 is 8 turns, then 6 turns, 4 turns, and then CDHs can win anytime. That is new, and I want to talk about those in a little bit because I see some hurdles with that, with making that like it's kind of as good as they want it to be. But the other thing they did was they removed the tie between bracket 2 and the command and in the pre-con decks. So now
which is kind of funny. Given that the last time we played together,
I
was a big point of contention with our buddy Hua.
So it was an interesting. I was actually going to bring it up too because it was a fascinating look into like how different people can interpret this, because
it was the first thing I thought of when
so our buddy Hua, he's briefly made appearances on the old Casual Commander Revival and all this, but anyways, he is very like offline. He's not really into, like, he doesn't watch like content creators on Magic, content creators on YouTube or anything like that. He as far as Magic goes, he's very like not online.
He wouldn't even know brackets existed if we hadn't told him.
Probably. If we hadn't told him that brackets existed, he wouldn't know that they existed.
Yeah.
But when we were having this discussion, because he has a Tovolar deck, and it's a fairly optimized Tovolar deck. It's not like the most optimized it could be, but it's like it's got all the good werewolves. It's got some good dual lands and stuff like that in there.
Yeah,
we probably played it, and that deck is real good.
It's good. Like he probably could, in theory, like he could swap out some cards for like powerful red green staples, but like he doesn't really want to. And
he could put a Gaia's Cradle in there and it'd be great.
Yeah,
but for the most part, without getting into like major staples or specifically game changers, without having any game changers in it, that deck is about as good as it can be. Without having game changers in there. And we were debating on what we were playing, and he was like, I think I'll play 12. And I said, okay, so like a bracket 3 game. He said, no, it's bracket 2 because there's no game changers in it. It's like, well, you're correct that there's no game changers, but they make very specific statements in the bracket on the both on the graphic they have and just kind of the guidelines for the graphic that it's that intent and like the practical power level of this deck also plays maybe even a bigger factor into what bracket it goes into than just the number of game changers. Like just because your deck has game changers doesn't mean it actually plays like a bracket 3. Like that's like a thing where you would want to say, hey, my deck has a Jessica's Will in it, but the rest of it's kind of shit. So you ask if I can play that down in a bracket 2 type of thing, or you just take the Jessica's Will out. But just because you don't have game changers doesn't mean it's not a bracket 3 or even a bracket 4. And specifically with Tovolar, that deck wants to play lots and lots and lots of werewolves, as many werewolves as you can find, all the good ones.
You don't
and
say.
It doesn't need game changers to be really good. And when he plays it, that deck is a hard 3. It is a 3 up and down, every which way you look at it, it's a 3. Oh, yeah. And him and I got into it a little bit or whatever, not like bad or anything, but just kind of argued like, no, it's like, man, this is like, I'm telling you, your deck's a 3. Like just because it has game changers doesn't mean it's a 2. And I said, and one of the reasons, like my point of leverage I used against him is saying bracket 2 is pre-con level decks. Your deck is a lot better than a pre-con. And he was, so that was the things like, okay, that's bracket 2. That's the point. That's our pivoting point. That's our landmark where we can say, okay, that's what bracket 2 is. And we can point to that and say, is your deck better than a pre-con? It's probably bracket 3. And that's like, but now they've removed the tie between bracket 2 and pre-cons, which
don't tell them that. You got to win.
Oh yeah, there's no shot I'm telling him that. But so like it removes that common point with bracket 2 where we can all look at it and say, okay, pre-cons are this. But I think what it does do though is it properly accounts for the facts that pre-cons are not built equally. There are some that are really great and there's some that are just not. And some of the newer pre-cons are absolutely like, they're basically a 3. That Pantlaza one is not a 2. It's a 3. And but you go to some of those like shitty Doctor Who ones, they're not even a 2. That's a 1.
Man, I love your crusade against the Doctor.
If there are no haters,
any chance you get to like slam Doctor Who.
If there are no Doctor Who commander deck haters in this world, it means that I'm dead. So
and I don't say that like I don't like love them or anything. I just think that you hate them more than anyone else.
I hate them more than most people. Yeah. So, but like especially the fucking timey-wimey one, man. I hate that one.
Everybody get out your Luke and Levi bingo cards. Levi complained about
brings up the timey-wimey, yeah. Yeah, everyone just cashing in on the free spot there. But anyways, what is all that is to say is that like you can't really just put 2 as the pre-con because pre-cons bounce all over the place, and like the pre-cons in 5 years will be a lot better than the ones that they are now. Stuff like that. So like what it does do though is it if you have the pre-cons tied to bracket 2, then your bracket 2 power level is always shifting. It means that like it's always the strongest pre-con is what bracket 2 is. So then you basically from there you're saying like, is my deck stronger than the current strongest pre-con ever made? If it is, then it's a 3. Well, if in 5 years the pre-cons look like today's 3s, then all of a sudden your power level goes way the fuck up because you just can't keep it. And then everybody's deck is a 2 now. So like by unlocking and untethering it from pre-cons, you do insulate it a little bit from power creep. So that way you don't have a sliding scale.
Yeah, the landmark was nice of saying like, hey, this is this. And I think a lot of us, who pay attention to the game and how it's changed over the course of the years, we were aware that like, of course, pre-con is a bit of a sliding scale. There's it's almost like a little mini gradient in and of itself.
Right.
But the landmark was kind of nice of like, you got a rough idea what a pre-con kind of is. You take the average over the past like 5 years or whatever. However, I do like the distinction and I do like the expectation of, because it seems like in order to take that out, they've added this like turn like expectation for each tier or bracket rather. And I at first glance, and again, I haven't really thought about this too much. I listened to like 2 podcasts on this today or since yesterday, and I haven't thought about it a whole bunch. But it seems cool. It seems nice. I understand like, and maybe this is what you were saying to your point. You're going to get to at some point of your qualms that you might have with the expected turns. But I mean, like,
it's not. I wouldn't even say it's a
like
qualm. I wouldn't say it's a qualm so much as it is a. When was the last time you counted how many turns were in a game?
That's a very good point. I can no.
There are games that are ours that have lasted 2 hours where it might have been 10 turns. It might have been 25. I have no idea.
No fucking clue.
Like that's my thing is that like it sound like saying like it's 8 turns sounds nice, but is saying that bracket 2 is 8 turns before you should expect the game to really make a lot of movement. Is that a useful metric given that almost nobody ever counts the turns that they're on? They don't even get to the end of the game and says, oh, how many turns was this? Maybe the first, like, you're kind of like half tracking it at the beginning of the game because generally you can just count it by how many lands are on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to like turn 4 and turn 5 where someone might be missing land drops
or
like
ramping a whole bunch
and then all of a sudden like now the count doesn't, now you can't just count, you can't count lands to count turns. That's where it gets tricky because like my Ashling deck is a hard 3 and it's every bit of a 3. It's not a 4, but it's a 3. And but like they say 6 turns. I mean, short of getting like some like god tier hand, it's like I don't think Ashling can really win in 6 turns.
Except for the last game, you totally did. You did kind of have a god to your hand at the beginning, though.
I had a good hand, but then I top decked Jessica's Will on turn 3, which is like, yeah, I mean that's gonna do it. Like when you just like randomly like you have the nut draw when you need it.
I had to give you shit for it. I've had turn 2 Pacos on the field because I had god hand. So
right,
like, it happens.
Yeah, I mean sometimes shit happens. But like I generally have no idea like how I don't know how fast Ashling can win a game. I don't like, I mean, like I know like it can get going for a quick, but like is it 5 turns? Is it 8? Is it 10? I don't know. I don't count that because
on average,
what was that?
Like on average, because I mean, like the last game we played, I mean, it legit won on like turn 4 or something. But again,
it didn't.
It was. I mean, it was certainly no more than 5. It was
like
pretty.
It might have been 6.
It was. I say 5 max personally.
It might have. I think it was just because of that one. I just kind of got a really lucky draw.
That's why I mentioned like on average what you expect, because New and Magic.
In my opinion, on average, it's probably like a 6 or like a 7 or 8 turn deck. Like it's probably more of an 8 turn deck.
Yeah.
So then it's like 2, but it's like I would never like in good conscience play it in a bracket 2 game.
No.
Like I mean, just like last week I was on a Twitch stream with Cthulhu's Den Gaming, and like the other two of the decks played like combo, like tutoring combo, like it's a hard 3, like maybe even a low 4, and like they're playing Ristic Study and all this stuff or whatever, and like my one game changer in Ashling is Jessica's Will, and it almost won the game after they stole Ashling on turn 3. Like it nearly beat a 2 like bracket 4-ish decks without the commander. So like but granted got some lucky draws and stuff like that. So like, but I know it can play, it can play in any 3 and maybe even hang with some 4s if it gets good draws and stuff like that. But like it's the speed of that deck, I think, is roughly a turn 2 deck. So like that's in
tier 2 deck, I mean.
Or what did I say? Oh, bracket 2. Sorry, bracket 2 deck.
Yeah.
So like that's where the turn number doesn't. The turn number for me is not helpful because I don't know how fast any of my decks are in terms of turns, and I don't really I don't count them. There's some games where it might like if it was like turn 6, if it was like if the game ended on turn 6, I'd be like, that's kind of lame, and like nothing had a chance to happen. But then there's other game times where it ends that fast, and it's like, oh well, that was the whole game, and that's what it was. I don't know. I don't. It's not that it's not like the turn thing can't be in there, because for some people it probably is helpful. I think for a lot of people it's either going to be not helpful, or they're now just going to have to start tracking turns when they never used to have to do that. Which I think is which is troubling for me, not troubling, but like I think it's difficult to justify that when we're always talking about like the mental bandwidth of the game, like which is harder to keep track of, Cathar's Crusade or keeping track of the number of turns.
I mean, Cathar's Crusade's harder, but I mean, tracking. Yes, it is. Then tracking turns. Tracking is just paying attention. No, I don't get me wrong. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying Cathar's Crusade is a fucking nightmare.
Cathar's Crusade is my wet dream.
Yeah, I know it is. There's a lot of like perverted things that I do that you turn your nose up on.
Counting things is mine.
No. Yeah. Your little fucking little game with Cathar's Crusade. For me, I'm like, no, that's where I.
Oh man, that's where I get my rocks off, man. If I've got 10 tokens and they all have a different number of counters on them, and I got to keep track of them. That's my shit. Where it's like this guy has 10, this guy's got 9, this guy's got 8.
One big commander.
This got 7. This one's got 6. This one's got 5. This one's also got 5. This one's got 3. That's my shit.
I don't like that one bit.
All that sounds yucky.
It's out. Yeah, just like the yucky bits of eggs. Don't get me started on those. But
don't get me started on those. You're going bad making scrambled eggs.
We don't need to talk about that.
No, it'd be embarrassing for you.
So here's my thing on the turns. It's another tool of just like intent, right? Like all this stuff is kind of based off intent,
right?
And I'm not saying that we should track. I think that if you look at it in the extreme circumstances, it's kind of helpful, because like, let's say we're sitting down, we're playing bracket 2, like we're all like, hey, we're all pretty fucking sure this is bracket 2, and someone plays a deck and they went on like turn 4 even. We can all agree that's too fast.
It's too fast.
And even if you get like turn 5 and 6, it's like, that's still pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like, and I know like it's more just kind of getting a vibe on it. I get, like, again, I know no one's really. I'm not going to start counting my turns. I'm not going to.
Nope.
I ain't changing. I don't like change. I'm not going to do it. But I do have a rough idea though that if someone pops off too early, and like if they straight up win on the turn 4, even in a bracket 3 game, I got a pretty rough idea when turn 4 is. And if someone wins on turn 4 in a bracket 3, I'd be like, okay, either, ashing situation, again, we were aware that you had a very, very good hand, but like if it's a consistent thing that they're always winning on turn 4 in a bracket 3, it's like, okay, maybe you should, admit that it's more powerful than bracket 3. Right. So yeah, I think it can be useful. It's just kind of like, it's kind of even similar to the like the landmark we were talking about with the precon thing, where it's like that in and of itself is still kind of a wavy landmark. To me, they're both kind of wavy landmarks. But I guess this is spanning across the brackets, where precon was just associated with bracket 2. So maybe it's a little more useful.
The thing that they still haven't, I don't think they've been able to properly articulate it in this thing though. Like they still keep trying to like find it. They still have not found a great way to articulate that, like more than any of the other hard restrictions, what matters more than anything is intent. And that like if you're just trying to play the goofiest shit you can find, that's a bracket 1 deck. If it's like kind of goofy, but you put some cards in there to make it work, that's 2. Like if it's like, oh, we actually like a kind of game plan, there's some stuff to do or whatever, that's 3. If you're like, I have a game plan, we're trying to do it as best we can, that's 4. If it's, I've got this thing mathed out and I'm a freaking nerd that's been sitting in Excel for a while and making this deck, that's 5.
I busted the hypogeometric calculator.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say
92?
Yeah. Just looking at this, like, would it be fair to say like the more interaction you have, it's the higher bracket you're going to be at? I know that there's more factors that go into it, but like,
yeah,
I mean, brackets 1, even 2 to a degree, you're just you're probably just kind of sitting there building up and ramping, and then someone.
Yeah, nobody's removing much of anything.
No, exactly. And no, and not even just removal, like just any interaction at all. Board wipes, which of course is mass removal, but like even just like, I've heard Rachel Weeks talk about this, and I'm a big believer in this, that like things like mass goad is interaction, because you're fucking with people, right? Like you're and not just removing things, but you're making them do shit that they didn't want to do.
Right. Yeah.
Or even like damage. I would consider like damage redirection and counter spells interaction, obviously.
Yeah.
Things like that. So the more there is of that, the more that you're like actively fucking with other people's plan, the higher you're going up. That maybe is even.
Yeah.
And again, that's a vibes thing, but
I think that's actually probably almost a better way. I think that's almost a better way to do these brackets, is like it's a sliding scale of how much am I going to do to stop the other people versus doing my own shit. Like if I'm going to, like, if I'm just sitting there and I'm just trying to vibe and do my own thing, like, and I'm not like comboing off or anything like that, like that's lower end. And then as you get to more combos and more interaction, that's as it goes up. Speaking of which, one of the other adjustments to this is essentially the removal of any sort of stipulation about tutors,
which I love.
I do like that, because I think it was gray before.
It's just so much more clean now.
Yeah, now it's like if there's a tutor that's like powerful enough to care about it, they're going to put it on the game changers.
Exactly.
List.
It's like nobody utilizing their tools just more efficiently this way, versus like having the weird, vague few tutors, and then of course everyone's wondering is
rampant growth a tutor? Yeah, like is like the one Tezzeret Planeswalker, is that a tutor? That stuff. Like, no, does anybody care if you play Diabolic Tutor? No, nobody cares.
Exactly. Rather than like getting into the minutia of like having to slice and dice all these different, how many fucking cards say search your library for or whatever, and then we instead of like diving into that like weird nuanced question, you just get rid of it and not worry about it in general. It's much more clear.
Right.
Yeah.
So they did also adjust the game changers list. So let's take a look at that. So game changers. So the cards that they removed from the game changers list: Expropriate, Jangutaxis Core Augur, which is the 10 mana one. Sway of the Stars, Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, and Kinnan, Bond of Prodigy, Urza, Lord High Artificer, Winota, Joiner of Forces, and Yuriko, Tiger's Shadow. They also removed Deflecting Swat and Food Chain. I don't see any in here that I think cause any issues.
No.
There's a bunch of these that like Yuriko is only going to end up at high power tables anyways, and like there's some of these other ones like Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, great card, can be really impressive, but it's also like 8 mana.
I was gonna say that's like 8 mana.
It's huge. It's a huge.
It's more than 6. It's got to be more than 6.
Yeah, Expropriate 2 also filters itself out with the extra turns thing, because while theoretically you might only get 1 extra turn, you're going to get somewhere between 1 and 4 extra turns.
Yeah, I mean the possibility for in one card to have multiple extra turns.
4. Yeah, I mean not even just multiple, but 4. So that already essentially disqualifies it from being at a power 2 table, at a bracket 2 table anyways.
Yeah,
so
if someone plays Expropriate at bracket 2, it's like, okay,
you're an asshole.
What the fuck are you doing? You should feel bad. You're just really pub stopping at that point.
The thing that they need to put on, somehow convey in the bracket system, in the bracket like nomenclature, is don't be an asshole. That's what they've been trying to figure out how to say that without actually putting don't be an asshole on the graphic. But like that's what they're trying to say, and that's what they're trying to figure out how to convey that. But it's don't be an asshole. If you play Expropriate at a bracket 2 table, you're an asshole. So it's just kind of one of those. I mean, frankly, most of these, if you play on a bracket 2 table, you're probably an asshole. There's a couple of these. Now, I will say, like Deflecting Swat and Food Chain, I don't really care. I don't like Deflecting Swat is not like, it is a free like spell, but it's not nearly as good as Fierce Guardianship or something like that. Like it can be used to counter a counter spell for free, but like that's kind of like the best thing you can do with it for free. I mean, you can redirect some damage and stuff like that, but it's not.
If you're real lucky, you can get the asshole who's playing Expropriate, and you can.
Yeah. So it's like there's a couple like really edge cases where like it can be good, but like deflecting SWAT is not nearly as good as
No,
the other free
not at all.
stuff.
That is the one of the like those free commander interaction cards that came from that set with the
There's like Fierce Guardianship and stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah,
that is the only one that I allow myself to play. Because trust me, I'm always very tempted to play. You know, I love blue. That's my favorite color. I know that if I were to show up at our regular games and I'm throwing in Fierce into like my, again, unless it was like an appropriate higher tiered thing, then even maybe. But even then, like those ones I feel like are pretty egregious. And I'm like,
and like I have deflecting SWAT.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of playing on baby shit easy mode if you're playing a lot of those. Like,
I have
so
deflecting
I just
SWAT
don't.
in my 4-color like pet deck. But that's because it was part of the wedding present. It's actually the pack that you gave me for my wedding.
Was it? You probably told me this at some point.
Yeah, you gave me a Commander Masters pack as a wedding present, and I pulled deflecting SWAT out of it.
Hell yeah.
So that's in my pet deck or whatever. But like, I don't feel bad about playing that in a bracket 2 game. Like,
no,
I don't feel one bit bad about it. Or whatever.
I've got it in like almost anyone that has red, just because red is it needs a protection. Even like Paco and Halden, I could probably play something blue and cheaper, but I throw it. I mean, well, it's free, so I mean, it's a good card. Don't get me wrong, it's a good card, but yes, as I think
it's
most
not
people
like
agree, it's not
fine. It's fine at lower power stuff. Food Chain is just a combo piece with the Prosh deck. Like other than that, like it doesn't really.
I just traded mine in actually. I don't know if I mean, I was actually going to bring up that I was if we could do a little in the intro now that we're almost half an hour into this, but I wanted to do a little like update on like just any sort of like card deck building things that we've been doing.
Yeah.
And one of my big updates was that I traded in at least 2 of my decks, all of my cards that were worth of any value for my Prosh deck and my Shrines deck, because I never play them. They're boring as hell. I traded them in, and now I'm slowly using that store credit to make my Paco and Halden deck all real cards, because that's my favorite deck. But just got rid of my Food Chain.
Yeah,
it's boring as hell.
Boring.
Like 10 years ago when I built,
it's not unfair at low power tables, so it's
correct.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Couple of the other things they talked about here now, as far as just kind of discussion topics that they mentioned about just cards that are on their brains. The first one is Ristic Study, which is a hot topic for a lot of people, and they basically used the same argument for not banning Ristic Study, because the thing is, should they ban it? It's already a game changer, but should they ban it basically is the question. And they used the exact same essentially the exact same argument for keeping Ristic Study as they use it for Soul Ring. The problem with that, in my opinion, is that Soul Ring is the card that Sheldon Menery chose from on high and said, this is the card that must always be in Commander, because this card, being able to play this card, is why we play Commander. But if that were not the case, if that weren't like the card, if Soul Ring wasn't like the card that you should be able to play in Commander, I kind of think it might get banned. Like, it probably does. It's powerful enough. It deserves to get banned.
If it weren't for its
at
legacy,
minimum, it's a game changer.
I also think it's important to note that it's colorless, so anybody can have it. Right. Like, and the way that I've always kind of viewed it with Soul Ring specifically, like if you're playing Smash Bros and then you're playing with items, the computer randomly generates that big old hammer. Whoever gets there first gets it and starts going crazy. But then and then when it's all done, you get targeted. That's the trade-off. And if people are fine with that, adding that little bit of like, ooh, something spicy might happen, then I think it's fine. But everybody has access to it. Ristic Study is only blue. The card is expensive as well. I personally,
it's like a $40 or $50 card, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Even after being reprinted a fair amount, right?
Yeah.
Like the special slots in packs or whatever. So I personally, if it just remains a game changer, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not like screaming that it needs to be banned. If it did get banned, I'd be like, fine. I literally never play it in any deck. Like I again, that's another card that it's just kind of like you're playing on super baby shit easy mode. And if you want to play that, it's fine. But you're kind of just leaning on easily the best draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's
no effort whatsoever.
It is the most uncreative. I would argue it is maybe the single least creative card you can put in a Commander deck outside of Soul Ring.
1000%.
So in the Ristic Study section here, they say, is Commander more fun with Ristic Study in it? Is there a world where it moves from being a game changer to being banned? To be clear, our current thinking around this leans towards no, as it's just so iconic for casual commander. But if you have thoughts, we'd love to hear from you.
I,
I have an issue with that.
I,
I mean, I guess it depends on what you cut. Like, if casual commander is just literally anything that isn't CEDH, then like, sure, I guess if you cast a wide enough net, then sure, I guess it's iconic. But like,
our world is
to
more
be clear,
nuanced.
Ristic Study is only iconic because everybody hates playing against it, and it is also should not be welcome at all at lower power tables. Like in my opinion, it should only be bracket 4 and CEDH, like at most or whatever. Like that's why, like I'm saying, is like at a bracket 1 table, if someone drops a soul ring, it's fine. Like it's not like, I mean, you don't like it. Like in my opinion, I don't like soul ring because it just warps. It warps a lot of things. But like soul ring's not getting banned. It's just not, like, it doesn't matter. So like discount that entirely. That's not even in the conversation. But Ristic Study is, like I said, it's only available to people that play blue. Not everybody
Only
plays blue.
Exactly.
And it is such, like, there's basically nothing else in any other color that approaches how powerful Ristic Study is at that price.
Exactly.
Like black.
It's 3 mana, isn't it?
It's 3 mana. It's 2 and a blue. It's not even double blue. It's 2 and a blue.
Fuck me.
Like you could be playing Simic that's mainly just splashing blue and it's mostly green and still play Ristic Study.
Baby shit easy mode.
It's yeah. I mean, like, there are other, like, yes, Gaia's Cradle and the World Tree are in green, but the World Tree is like $80 and Gaia's Cradle is $1,000.
And those also do require setup. Like it requires you to make a board.
Yeah, they don't just like immediately.
I forget what World Tree.
The World Tree is a mana rock, and so it costs less based on the power you have in the battlefield. Then it's a mana rock that essentially pays for itself right away.
Are you thinking of Great Henge? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yes, Great Henge, not the World Tree. Great Henge. The Great Henge is what I'm thinking of.
Exactly. It requires setup, and like again, those are powerful cards. Obviously,
they're powerful, but they are not as powerful as
Ristic Study requires 0 effort. And like,
you just playing it down, and then that's just your one card engine that just makes sure the rest of your deck work 100 times better.
Again, I'm a blue pervert. I love blue, but like, I know like that one's too much.
Damn good well that if you showed up to one of our games with a Ristic Study in it, you're gonna get punched in the face.
I'm already on thin ice as it is. There's a lot of cards that I used to be an extra turn player, and then I got the fucking kibosh on that. So I'm already on thin.
We bullied Luke out of extra turns. If he ever even tried if he even got into my zip code with a Ristic Study, like someone's getting their brake lines cut.
Friendships end. I'm out of the band. I'm getting hate mail, getting doxxed.
So my kind of where I'm going with this though is like they're treating Ristic Study like it's Soul Ring, and it's just not.
It's not a good argument.
Like
no,
nobody has ever been in a game where a Ristic Study was played, not including CDH. Like outside of CDH, nobody has ever like played a game and they saw Ristic Study was played and like, oh great, this game is better now. Like cool, this makes the game more interesting. All it does is it draws that person a trillion cards, or it either draws them a million cards, or it's every single fucking thing you do. It's do you pay the one, do you pay the one, do you pay the one, do you pay the one. It's irritating. It's annoying. It makes all of your shit cost more. It's a stacks piece. It's a stacks piece where it's not just the like I just can't cast this yet, but I just need to wait a little bit and I can cast it later. It's I can cast this right now, but if I can't pay extra for it, they just get cards. It's like it's like more punishing than a stacks piece.
Yeah, exactly. What if this? The thing that everybody says is we don't want to add any extra little special things, but how about if we made Ristic Study worth 2 game changer points, or even 3? Because in that way, like if you want that in bracket 3, it's worth a lot more, and then like that way it doesn't matter in 4 and 5 because you have as many as you want. But like if you want it in 3, it's like that's gonna be your fucking 1 or maybe 2.
So you would like put some sort of extra restriction on it and say like if you're gonna play Ristic Study, it is your only game changer.
Yeah, either it's worth 2 slots or it's worth 3.
Well, you say it's worth 3, so that way if it's in a bracket 3, that is your only game changer. Now in 4 it doesn't matter, but like
exactly, it doesn't matter.
3 that is your only game changer type of thing.
Yeah,
I mean like.
Give it a special little thing. Because again, like I said, I don't think it needs to be banned. I think banned is maybe a little too strong. I think really either it's worth like more game changer points, or whoever plays it in a deck has got to wear a special little like Weenie Hut Jr. shirt in a bib. So
I don't hate the idea of like if you play this, you also just have to wear something that makes you look stupid.
yeah. You suck on a pacifier.
I believe that the commander format is not improved by Ristic Study being in the game. If you take, I think if you removed Ristic Study from Commander, the game as a whole will be better.
I think it has a place at brackets 4 and 5, and like because if people want to play like this is the area where we specifically are here to play with just the most powerful cards that are available to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like what we're here for. We're not trying to pub stump anybody. We're not trying to trick anybody. We're not trying to like bamboozle or gaslight how powerful a deck is. Like the thing that we're here to do, and you know, and I'm not saying this is what they do every single time. That maybe this is sometimes they want to play with just the best possible cards because that's like their little adrenaline kick. I think it's fine if it lives there. I just want it to stay there because we talked about this before. I genuinely think that, yeah, again, I understand you get game changer rules and points and all that jazz. I would also agree with you. I think if you showed up at a bracket 3 with Ristic Study, I think you're kind of a dick. Like,
oh yeah, no, like
yeah,
if you said if someone showed up at a bracket 3 game with and said one of my game changers is Ristic Study, I would say I'm not interested in playing against that card.
Yeah.
If you can switch decks, I'd appreciate it. If not, I'm going to go find a different game.
Yes, same. There's been a handful. I mean, it's very rare because I know in our meta, like our personal friend meta, it's not there anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
I did play with, I know at least once when I was playing at our local game store here in town, and I mean, that was maybe the one time I ever experienced it, and yeah, it was as shitty as everyone always says it was. It was really dumb and annoying and bad. You know, it didn't help that we had a 6-player game too, which is really
that's worse. That's so much worse.
I begged them to do a 3-way 2-headed giant, and they're like, no, and I'm like, oh sweet, a 6-player game. I gotta wait half an hour before my turn shows up.
Right.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're really kicking on this. Yeah, for me again. I think if we can just shove it and keep it in 4 and 5. That would be my ideal situation.
To me, all this is telling me is that like CEDH needs its own list. I think.
Yeah, probably.
Because like CEDH wants Ristic Study. CEDH wants a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not like I don't think Ristic Study is appropriate for anything below CEDH. I don't think it is. Like you can say, oh, Power 4, whatever. Shut up. Play C like.
I'll give the bracket 4 players. I'll give it to them.
You want to know my thoughts on bracket 4 are? Is you're either too much of a coward to play CDH or you're too stupid to play 3.
That's a little too intense,
lazy, not stupid. You're too lazy.
That's not true.
You're either too lazy to make a creative deck that's a bracket 3 deck, or you're too much of a coward to play CEDH.
I don't think that's. I think that's too broad of a swath you're painting.
See, all bracket 4 decks is just like a good commander with a million staples. It's lazy.
Well, not necessarily.
Pretty much. Like, I mean, that's what bracket 4 is for. It's for the decks that want to play 15 game changers.
Well, I mean, what if you don't want to play 4 game changers? You know, like you just don't feel super comfortable with it.
Then you are a lazy deck builder because if you like there's no situation in which the 4th game changer suddenly sets your deck over the edge. It's just so much better because of that one extra game changer.
So all right, so
either play 3 and drop down to bracket 3 and like actually like do some work and like actually like try to build a deck one time, or just like go all the way and play CEDH. What does 4 game changers solve?
I will say I'm actually kind of glad that we're having a little bit of a disagreement because up until now we've just been jerking each other off and like, yeah, well, you're right. Yeah, Luke. Yeah, Levi.
Hell yeah.
Sorry. So no, let me ask you this though. So this is a deck that I genuinely do love. I only play it on a rare occasion.
Yeah.
It's Lear, my soggy boy. I think I have maybe 2 games. I have Mystical Tutor. And I think that's my only game. And I recently put Gifts Ungiven in there because it became unbanned and I wanted. Yeah. So I believe I only have 2 game changes in there. I feel not great playing that at bracket 3. It's not appropriate.
In our in our particular meta, which is where you mostly play it, when you
Yeah,
the little bit you do play it or whatever, like our deck does not use a lot of interaction removal, even with our higher power decks. So like that deck specifically doesn't get played with high interaction decks very often. So like I think that deck is probably higher power. It's probably not as high power as you think it is, because
I mean,
like
maybe
in our meta where like it doesn't see much removal or counter magic or anything like that, it's gonna pop off because it's allowed to just sit there and then just control the game because it's the only thing that's interacting with anything.
what's real quick? What's the extra turn restriction in bracket 3?
Bracket
No,
3 is like no chaining them. Like if you have like one extra turn, that's fine, but chaining them is not.
Lear chains them though. Like that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
And when I do that, like I do it within like 2 or 3 turns and then I win because I'm using actually there's 3 game changers. That's Oracle's also in there as well. So and again that's a recent change because up until now there's only 2 and then I added the gifts ungiven. But even still I'm within that bracket 3, but even then I mean I can chain 5 extra turns in that deck pretty easily. And it goes quick and snappy and then I win. That's the point. But I don't feel I've played it outside of our meta. I've played it at the local game store. I've played it at conventions, and it wins most of the time. Yeah. And again, sure, some of it might be like I get ignored for a bit for whatever. There's so many variables in Commander that it's hard to quantify. But like, I'd feel bad playing even at a convention. I feel bad playing it at 3.
Yeah,
So
I would argue that in that situation that you're being a coward, not just making it a CEDH deck. Like just make it a CEDH deck.
Well, if the thing though, CEDH makes it more homogenized. If you want to play CEDH, you already got fucking like what 70 cards out of your deck all planned out for you if you're playing mono blue. Or like again, I have no idea, but like you're going to homogenize the whole thing. Like Lear is not going to be because I would say I want to play Lear, powerful Lear. You're not going to be able to play it at CEDH. I don't think that's a viable commander.
Yeah, I mean, there's like exceptions where they fall into bracket 4, but I think generally speaking, I think generally speaking, a lot of bracket 4 decks are because people don't want to be bothered to find a creative deck solutions that don't involve a million staples.
I think that's a distinction there. A lot of them are. I just don't think that I just don't think making the blanket statement of everyone in 4 is just being like lazy. I think that there's some, and the amount of decks that are like true honest made salt of the earth decks that actually do belong in bracket 4, they do exist. But I think you are correct, a lot of them are just straight up like people just are playing it.
They're just like, I want to play the One Ring, and I want to play One Ring, I want to play this and
T-Pro and
and I want to play Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor.
That isn't wrong. That is not wrong at all.
I think there's a lot of decks that are like that in bracket 4. Yes. Which I find
it's hard to make it. It's hard for a good, honest bracket 4 deck to exist, but they do exist. I'll say
that's my qualm is like for a good, honest bracket 4 deck that's not just a bunch of staples thrown in deck because they're too lazy to find anything else. Yes, they exist, and that can be what bracket 4 is for. But most of them do not. Most of them fall into either I'm too lazy to make a bracket 3 deck, or
a large chunk do,
or I'm too much of a coward to try to actually optimize it for CEDH.
Yeah, I would even go as far as to say the majority of, and again, I'm really, I have no empirical evidence for this one. This is all vibes, but I would go as far to say,
you know what, for people that
won't
die on a dumb hill, like enjoy your empire, enjoy your empire of flattened barren tundra, while I die upon upon my kingdom of hills. And
dying on a hill's fun. Yeah,
dying on a hill is awesome. Fuck bracket 4. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Even like my bracket 3s are still like kind of goofy. Well, Ashling's not goofy. She's just good.
Ashling's good.
But like, it's also not a bracket 4 deck.
No.
Anyways, the third thing here is they were actually talking about if there should be another bracket, something between 2 and 3 or between 3 and 4. I think between 3 and 4, if they were gonna do it, I think 3 and 4 makes sense because, whether you put it between 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, it doesn't really matter. Because all you're doing is just adding some granularity. Maybe you say 2 is like this precon is a 2, and then anything better than that is a 3 and then there's a 4 and a 5 or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I really the only benefit I could see from adding an additional bracket to this is that there's no middle ground. There's no like, all decks are a 3 or all decks are a 7 problem. Like if you make it like 3 on one side, 3 on the other, you have to choose either like above the median or below the median. So like that might be a little helpful, I guess. But like other than that, I don't really see the point of like. I think they're distinct enough. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
I think there's. I'm not sure exactly how they like.
What's to stop you from making like 7 more? Like what we can just keep really getting great. Like why would we want to?
We could add 5 more and go to a 10 bracket system.
Exactly. Like why would?
And then everyone's playing a bracket 7.
Exactly. We're just kind of back to the same point. So
I think which is funny because if you made one between 3 and 4, and then it's affectionately a 3.5, which is literally half of 7.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a, you could try to break it down as much as you can. But unfortunately, no amount of brackets or nuance in what the brackets are is going to properly convey the idea of don't be an asshole or whatever. And if you need a hard and fast list of cards you can and can't play to decide whether or not you are playing too powerful for the table you're at, you're probably an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all there is to it.
I think most people probably know if they're being shitty too. Like deep down, they know
a bunch of them. Yeah,
yeah. I understand there might be some people who straight up like maybe they
just don't know. Maybe they're new or something. But
either they're new or not to get too into the weeds, but maybe they have just really bad for whatever reason social understanding of things, and like they don't. Sure, I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
That's fine. But most people, I think they should like. I remember back in the day when you and I would pop onto like Tellurian Community College Discord, like pick up games, and there was just someone just said, "Oh yeah," I specifically, I know this is one in particular one, but it happened multiple times. Do you remember the game where the fellow showed up playing Magda, and he like got all surprised?
It was a goblin deck. He's like, "I can't believe this popped off on turn 2."
Well, it was some sort of like he tutored with Magda to get the combo piece with something else, and like. And he's like, "Oh, that's so strange. It never happened." And you said, "Dude, you have a tutor in your command zone. You knew what you were fucking doing.
You knew what you're doing."
Yeah, I think people know what they're doing. I think it's obviously what defines being an asshole can shift depending on what meta / like group you're in. Like I understand that, but most people know when they're being shitty, and they just I feel like most the thrill of winning is more important than like having an actual honest good game.
Like to me, if you're the type of person that like can't like read body language at a table and understand that the other people are not having fun, that's like a different level of thing. Like that's a different thing. We have some Netflix shows about those kinds of people. Well,
it's a different thing, and like I'm not telling you what you can and can't do, but like maybe consider a different format because like a big part of Commander is that like.
If the whole thing is that you want that you like need to win and you're okay with pub stomping tables, just go play standard or modern or legacy or something like go play a 60 card format where like it doesn't matter if the other person is having a bad time. It doesn't matter because you're just like the whole thing is just I'm trying to win this game, period. So like
the amount of people that are actively hurting people's feelings and also like don't understand that they are doing it and are completely unaware. I know that those people can, in theory, exist, and I'm sure some do. I think it's a pretty small population, though.
Yeah,
so most people know better.
Yeah, so they can keep tinkering around, but it's not. Unfortunately, it's not going to stop anybody that like it doesn't care if they're being a dick or is actively trying to angle shoot. It's not going to stop any of that. And so
and I mean honestly, like that. Not only that, but also swallowing the pill that like these. While they do, I think, provide a pretty good guideline and a pretty good like aiming device of what we're trying to get at and trying to frame to have a good game and find good games with people. Us as players also have to like agree that like sometimes shit just happens, and we talked about your Ashland game. Like you had a crazy, you made an assload of mana and an assload of treasures. You did an assload of damage.
I think that game was me playing Ashland. You had who was playing Tovolar? You were popping like, those are 3 decks that I think like the matchup is fine.
I think the matchup is totally fine.
Yeah.
you had a crazy awesome hand, and like
and I drew into
well,
Jessica's will on turn.
yeah.
3.
I
Like,
mean, and let's say whatever it was, turn 5, whatever you want, whatever.
whatever it was.
Like
Yeah.
it's like yeah, it went fast and like it wasn't much of a game, but like it happens, man. Like with the amount of cards that are in this format, all the rules, the fact that it's just multiplayer alone fucks up so much shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's I one thing I think it kind of gets ignored a lot of the time when people are talking about the state of the game and everything. A big part of this is just like understand that shit happens, and it's just like yeah, okay, like you cannot guarantee a good game even as much as you try to tinker with the bracket system, the game changer list, whatever, what have you. It's never ever a guarantee that you're going to have this amazing engaging game. Like shit happens, maybe you get fucked because like your land just wasn't there.
Right.
Maybe your Hua. And the only reason why Chovalar might be considered a bracket 2 is because he's got 31 lands in that whole fucking deck.
Yeah.
But like it just shit happens, and people just gotta understand that even if it's someone who's not even trying to pub stomp like we were talking about before, it happens. Like I said, I got Paco out in turn 2. Wasn't fucking trying to. Like it just it can do that in Magical Christmas Land. So people just gotta like understand shit happens.
Yeah. Last order of business is they talked about hybrid mana and about letting hybrid cards be there. So like if it's white and blue hybrid mana, it can either be in a white deck or a blue deck, or it could be the commander of a white and blue deck.
Why are we still talking about this shit? Like why?
Because I think it's mainly because there are some purists that still think still want to like play hard, like go hard and fast on the color identity rule, which is like what makes commander and all that. Great. The color identity rule has a fairly in theory it has a nice black and white line on like this is what it is and this is what it isn't. It's also a fairly arbitrary line that including hybrid mana cards into decks. It just opens up more combinations of things. It puts more cards. It takes cards and puts them in decks that they couldn't have previously been in. I don't think it's going to unbalance the format. I mean, there's not like a massive amount of hybrid cards. I mean, there's like a decent chunk, but there's not like a massive amount of them or anything.
Yeah, I do want to be clear. When I was asking why are we still talking about it, I'm on the side of don't change it. I say keep it the same.
You say keep it the same. So you don't want to change it and allow hybrid mana to go in either one.
Ultimately, I don't. If it were to happen, I'd still play the game. I just don't understand. I don't think it's necessary. And also, I'm a big proponent of, and you've heard people say this in a lot of different situations, but I do think restrictions breed more creativity. It's us having it be this way. It gives Commander its distinction like that. I understand it's an arbitrary rule, but like everything about this format is an arbitrary rule. Like other than just base Magic rules, how much life we have, commander damage, color identity, the singleton format, all those are arbitrary rules. That's just what made this the format.
Yeah,
someone can make a different format, call it Schmamander, and you can do your it's a separate. I mean, it's all arbitrary, right? So why would we want to change one of the like core things that's made commander this entire time just because like and again, if you really want to, if someone really had a boner for mixing and blurring those lines with hybrid mana, I guarantee you somewhere you can find a group that is like, hey, sure, we'll rule zero this in and just try it and see what happens. And like most people are probably going to be fine. The only time that you'll ever like be considered an asshole is if you're splashing blue so you can get free heuristic study, right? I don't think it's necessary. I think we keep it the same.
I mean, if they keep it the same, it is like I don't care if they do or whatever. Like it's not going to change my opinion on the format at all. But if you're asking me like which way makes sense, I think it makes sense to allow hybrid mana to go either way. So like the example they use is for Risk the Redeemed, which is a 1/1 elf. It costs just one. It's either a green or white hybrid, and then its 2 activated abilities have green and white hybrid mana in it. Yes, is there a green and white in the color identity of the card? Yeah, but there's nothing on the card that says that you have to have white and green mana. If you were playing a Selesnya deck, but all you had was plains on the field, you could play Risk Redeemed and use all of her abilities. If you only had forests on the field, You could play Risk the Redeemed, and you can have all of her abilities. You can use all of her abilities. You can use the entire card with one color, and that type of card, that situation, I think, in my mind, makes sense to allow it to be in either one. Like, it's not like the counter example is Deathrite Shaman, where it's black and green hybrid to play it, but one of its abilities is just a black, and one of its abilities is just a green. In that situation, you do need both colors to be able to play both abilities of that commander. So it doesn't make sense to allow it to be played in just black decks or in mono green decks or something like that. But when you have a card that can theoretically be played with literally one color of mana and still be used to its full potential, in my mind, that is reason enough to allow it to be in a monocolored deck that doesn't include one of the other colors. I mean, theoretically, Risk the Redeemed, you could build it as a mono green deck. Like you just can't include it in the 99 of a mono green deck. Like Risk the Redeemed can absolutely, I mean, and I guarantee you people have done it, where they just put Risk the Redeemed as the commander, and then they just build a mono green elves deck behind it. Like, you can do that. I guarantee some people have done it.
Oh yeah.
But like, I don't really think that allowing Risk the Redeemed to be in a mono white deck, in the 99 of a mono white deck, I don't think it changes anything for the negative. And all it does is it gives you some more options of, oh, this is another fun card I can include in this, and it makes the deck more interesting.
Yeah, and again, the logic I understand is there, and I know we're following the logic of how it works in literally every other format. I mean, it just, for me, that's a rule that gives Commander a little bit of spice and being interesting. So I personally, I say don't fuck with it. I say leave it alone. And if someone really wants to do it, like, rule zero it, I'm sure your buddies are fine with it. If I showed up with you guys and I said, hey, I'm building mono green and I want to throw Reese in there, and I just want to try it out and see what happens, and we put a little asterisk on here, knowing this is a rule zero deck, I guarantee you guys would be like, yeah, cool, whatever, let's try it.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what they end up doing with the hybrid mana, I don't really feel like that strongly about it either way. Like, if they don't change it, I don't care. If they do, great. I don't think it'll affect any of my decks. So
I don't think it'll affect any one of mine.
I mean, maybe the only one I would think about sticking it in is like, and actually this is the one that would probably feel icky, is if I put it in St. Trafton Realm Careless, which is a Jeskai deck, and then just put Risk the Redeemed in there, and then there's just like this random weird like green color in the deck someplace.
Yeah, kind of green. And then
it would actually work pretty well. It would actually work really well in that deck.
Was it you pay 6 and then it like doubles all tokens you have?
For each creature token you control, create a token at the top. It'd actually be really, really good in St. Trafton Realm Careless.
It'd be really good.
That's why I'd be like, but it would look at it and be like, it's got green in it. That's icky. Yeah. So I might do it anyway. If they allow this, I might just throw it in there. Just because I feel like it. And
I gotta find some broken hybrid shit to throw into mine. Counteract you.
I get it. Like, I get it if you don't want it in there. And like I said, if they don't do anything with it, I don't really care that much too about it. But it's an interesting thing to talk about. But then, that's pretty much all that was announced for today. Generally speaking, like, there's like some of this, it's kind of weird because like I know this will affect some games and things like that. It'll affect how some people build decks, but in my specific sphere of Magic, this will change nothing. Nothing will change at all about this. Other than now, I got to find a better reason to argue Hua with why his total art
there's that one.
Just saying it's better than a precon.
I actually do think it might change a little bit of mine, because I have a couple of decks where I rely on tutors. Again, not game changer tutors. But I've used like Wilson and Cults of the Absolute. I got a fair amount of tutors in there because I want to get like, not only do I need to have Assault Suit, because that's just like the all-star of the deck, but I need to have a thing that repeatedly draws me cards, probably based on stuff dying. I need a way to continuously make cheap tokens all the time. There's like 4 parts. Just like, I need like 4 parts to this engine just to make Wilson work. So I have a lot of tutors in there, and again, it's like Wishclaw Talisman and like well, I can't think of any other ones right now, but it's shit like that where it's not Imperial Seal, Vampire Tutor, whatever.
Yeah, Diabolic Tutor, Diabolic Tent, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's all, so those recent changes.
It's all fair magic.
It's fair magic, baby. Curry or Curé. How I don't know if I should like French
Curie.
it up when
Curie.
Curie.
Tim Curie.
I'm gonna get real. I'm gonna lean real. I'm gonna go.
Surely you understand why it's Curie, right?
Because I mean it's the character's name. I never played the game.
Yes, but why is the character's name Curie?
I don't know. I didn't play the game.
You don't need to. You ever heard of Marie Curie?
Who? I generally don't know who that is.
You don't know who Marie Curie is? Marie Curie was.
Do I look like a guy who knows who that is?
You should. She was a physicist and chemist who basically she was the first person to understand radioactivity in the world, and she was like eventually she became like the most radioactive human being ever because she was like she was the one that figured out I was like,
Pretty
hey,
metal.
we should not touch radioactive things, and they're like she's like I found that out by touching a bunch of radioactive things, and now I'm all fucked up. But basically, she was the one that essentially discovered radioactivity, and she was a nurse and stuff like that. She wasn't a nurse, but she kind of like helped as a nurse with radioactivity, with radiation victims and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
that is why Tim's last name is Curie, not Curry.
Okay. Well. Okay. You learn something new every day. News to me. But anyway, that's another deck that's affected too because I have a whole bunch of like artifact tutors in there, specifically artifact tutors. So these changes will affect cards like that. With the tutor thing is affecting some of my decks, but ultimately same. Yeah. I'm gonna keep on living the way I've been living.
I don't really play tutors because I'm not lame like the rest of you folks. I'm just kidding. I mean, I feel like I do on a couple of decks, but not a lot.
You can suck my dick, Levi.
I think I do have like. Actually, I don't know if I. Like, I'm trying to think what decks I even do have a tutor in. I might have one. I have one. Specific. I do have one in 3-Dog that's an enchantment one to go grab an enchantment.
Yeah.
An aura specifically.
That's normally most of my tutors are like, it's specific to like the thing the deck is trying to do.
Right.
An artifact, a spell.
Well, in 3-Dog, it's not grabbing. It's not necessarily grabbing any specific, like, this is the artifact, this is the enchantment I'm going to grab because it's better than everything else. Like, it's. There's a number of things like, oh, maybe this situation I need this one, maybe this one I need this one type of thing. But alrighty, we're gonna wrap her up for this week. Everybody keep enjoying Commander with after the bracket updates, all that good stuff. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode of the Fair Magic Podcast here on YouTube.
The Halloween episode. Happy Halloween.
It's the Halloween episode because Luke wore a mask for the first 5 seconds of the show. So
of course, what else is it gonna be?
I don't know. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys next time on the Fair Magic Podcast.